Okay, I have a little background on Unitarians and Universalists because many people either have not ever heard of it or have no clue as to what we're about. So, although Unitarians have been around since the beginning of Christianity, they didn't practice out in the open after the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE. Universal salvation was another belief that no person would be condemned by God to eternal damnation. Now, both of those, Unitarians and Universalists, were labeled heretics for their belief in the unity of God versus the Trinity. So many, many hundreds of years, these folks laid low. And this was true until the 16th century when the Protestant Reformation took hold in the remote mountains of Transylvania in Eastern Europe. Yes, where Dracula was supposed to have come from. Here the first edict of religious toleration in history was declared in 1568 during the reign of the first and only Unitarian king, John Sigismund, and his court preacher, Francis David. Universalism, although started in Europe, really became an American religion. And in 1961, the Unitarians and the Universalists came together to create a single religion called Unitarian Universalism. So, a nice long name for the coming together of two independent liberal religions. Now, the flame within a chalice. So a cup with a stem and a foot is a primary symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith tradition. So this is what most people think of, and I'll talk. The red one is, of course, like any organization who has marketing people. This is their stylized version over here of the flaming chalice. Yes. Many of the congregations kindle a flaming chalice in gatherings and worships and feature the chalice symbol prominently. Just like Jews will wear the Star of David as a pendant or other things, you will also see a flaming chalice being, worn by females, and men will have a pin or whatever. The flaming chalice actually combines two archetypes: a drinking vessel and a flame. And as a religious symbol, it has different meanings to different beholders. Now, Jan Hus, a Czech priest and forerunner of the Reformation, was burned at the stake for proposing, among other things, that the communion chalice be shared with the laity. A flame can symbolize witness, sacrifice, testing, courage, and illumination. Now, for us, the chalice and the flame were brought together as the Unitarian symbol by an Austrian artist, Hans Deutsch, in 1941, yes, during World War II. Living in Paris during the 1930s, Deutsch drew critical cartoons of Adolf Hitler. When the Nazis invaded Paris in 1940, he abandoned all he had and fled to the south of France, and then to Spain, and finally, with an altered passport, into Portugal. There he met the Reverend Charles Joy, Executive Director of the Unitarian Service Committee, otherwise known as USC. The Service Committee was new, founded in Boston to assist Eastern Europeans, among them Unitarians as well as Jews, who needed to escape Nazi persecution. From his Lisbon headquarters, Joy oversaw a secret network of couriers and agents. And Deutsch was most impressed with this and soon started working for the USC. Now, the USC was an unknown organization in 1941. This was a special handicap in the cloak and dagger world, where establishing trust quickly across barriers of language, nationality, and faith could mean life instead of death. So disguises, signs, countersigns, and midnight runs across guarded borders were the means of freedom in those days. So Joy asked Deutsch right, the artist, to create a symbol for their papers to make them look official, to give dignity and importance to them, and at the same time to symbolize the spirit of our work. When a document may keep a man out of jail, give him standing with governments and police, it is important that it look important. Thus, Hans Deutsch made his lasting contribution to the Unitarian Service Committee, and as it turns out, to Unitarian Universalism. With pencil and ink, he drew a chalice with a flame, and it was, Joy wrote to his board in Boston, a chalice with a flame, the kind of chalice which the Greeks and the Romans put on their altars. The holy oil burning in it is a symbol of helpfulness and sacrifice. This was in the mind of the artist. The fact, however, that it remotely suggests a cross was not even in his mind, but many hold it that has merit because Unitarians, Christians, just did not believe in the Trinity. So he said, we do not limit our work to Christians. Indeed, at this present moment, our work is 9/10 for the Jews, yet we do stem from the Christian tradition. And the cross does symbolize Christianity and its central theme and sacrificial love. The flaming chalice design was made into a seal for papers and badge for agents moving refugees to freedom. So yes, indeed, there was an underground railroad. In time, it became the symbol of Unitarian Universalism all around the world. Now, if you notice, there are two circles that intertwine. That has to do with our interconnected world of humans and all that is. And you will notice, the stylized version created by our marketing team doesn't show that anymore, which is why most Unitarians you will see, if they have a pendant or whatever, will have flaming chalice within the double circles. Marketing folks. So that's about the UU flaming chalice.